The money in your pocket is already dying, and on the day it finally disappears, the world you know dies with it. Reach into your wallet, feel the paper, the coins, that little weight of cash you barely think about. Now imagine waking up tomorrow and finding out it's worth exactly nothing. Not devalued, not inflated away, just canceled. Every bill in every pocket on the planet turned to scrap paper overnight. Sounds insane, right? Here's what should actually scare you. It's already happening, quietly, country by country, while you scroll past headlines that never quite spell it out. And the day the last coin vanishes, a switch gets handed to someone, and you do not get to choose who's holding it. By the end of this, you'll understand why some of the most powerful people alive are quietly working to kill cash forever, why a handful of others are terrified of the day they succeed, and why the answer to one simple question, what replaces it, might be the most important thing you never thought to ask. But to see where this ends, we have to start at the beginning. The first morning. The morning it all still looked normal, for about an hour. 6 a.m. Your alarm goes off, same as always. You don't know it yet, but overnight, every physical note and coin on Earth stopped being money. The system that backed them, gone. The promise printed on them, void. The paper is still in your wallet, it just doesn't mean anything anymore. You won't notice at first. You tap your card for coffee, it works. You pay for gas with your phone, fine. For most of the morning, life feels completely normal. Because most of your money was never paper to begin with. It was always just numbers on a screen. And that's the first secret nobody tells you. The cash you carry is already a tiny sliver of the money that exists. Most of the wealth in the world isn't sitting in vaults. It isn't bricks of bills. It's data, lines in a database, a number with your name on it that you simply trust is real. So when cash disappears, the rich barely flinch. Their money was already digital. But somewhere across town, a man is standing very still, staring at a metal box he just opened. And inside that box is his entire life, in cash. And he has just realized that none of it works anymore. That's where this stops being an inconvenience and starts becoming a catastrophe. Because here's the thing about a cashless world. It doesn't hit everyone equally. It hits in a very specific order, and the people who fall first are the people you never see. Start with the small stuff, the tip jar, the busker on the corner, the kid's lemonade stand, the collection plate at church, the dollar you'd hand someone sleeping on the street. All of it, instantly impossible. Overnight, an entire layer of human kindness just stops working because you can't tap a card to a guitar case. Now go bigger. There are billions of people on this planet, adults, working, surviving, who don't have a bank account, no card, no app, no digital anything. They get paid in cash. They spend in cash. They live in cash. For them, going cashless isn't an upgrade. It's an extinction event. Their money didn't lose value. It vanished. And they have no other kind. In the time it took you to read that sentence, more lives just collapsed than you could count. And here's the part that should stop you cold. This isn't a hypothetical for them. There is a real country that did a smaller version of this, on purpose, overnight, with almost no warning. And what happened next is the closest thing we have to a preview of the end of cash. But we'll get there, because first, you need to understand what cash actually was, not money, something far more dangerous to lose. Ask anyone what cash is, and they'll say the same thing. Money, paper money. They're wrong, or at least they're only seeing the surface. Cash is the only kind of money on Earth that doesn't ask permission. Think about that. When you hand someone a bill, nobody approves it. No bank, no company, no server humming in a building you'll never see. The transaction is between two human beings, and it is nobody else's business. It leaves no trace. It needs no signal. It works in a blackout. It works in a storm. It works when the network is down and the towers are dead. Cash is freedom you can fold up and put in your pocket. And the moment it's gone, every single thing you buy passes through someone else's hands first. Every coffee, every donation, every private, embarrassing, personal purchase you'd never want anyone to know about. All of it, logged, time-stamped, attached to your name forever. You think you have nothing to hide. Wait until something you bought 10 years ago is used against you. Because here's where a cashless world stops being about convenience and starts being about control. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. This is where the real problem begins. Imagine every dollar you've ever spent, laid out on a single screen. Where you were, what time, what you bought, who you bought it from, how often, a perfect map of your entire life, drawn in money. Now imagine someone else owns that map. In a world without cash, that's not a nightmare scenario. That's just Tuesday. Because if there's no anonymous money left, then by definition, every transaction has a witness, and whoever holds the ledger holds something no king, no empire, no secret police in history ever had: a complete, permanent record of how every person alive actually lives. But visibility is only half of it. The other half is the switch. When your money is purely digital, it can be turned off, not stolen, not spent, switched off by someone who isn't you. Your account frozen with a keystroke. Your ability to buy food paused by an error in a system you can't see and can't argue with. We've already watched it happen to people in pieces. Accounts frozen over a donation. Payment apps banning users with no explanation, no appeal, no human on the other end. Now take away the escape hatch, take away cash, and there's no backup. No bills under the mattress, no way to buy a loaf of bread that doesn't require permission from a machine. In a fully cashless world, the power to make a person disappear economically, to make them unable to take part in society at all, fits inside a single line of code. And the truly terrifying part? It doesn't even have to be evil to ruin you. It just has to be wrong. But this is still the easy version of the story, because so far, we've only talked about turning money off. We haven't talked about the door that closes behind you. And it gets stranger, because in a cashless world, you can never truly take your money out. Right now, if you stop trusting a bank, you can walk in, withdraw your savings as cash, and walk out. That single option, the ability to leave, is a kind of power you don't even notice you have. It's the reason banks have to be at least a little careful with your money. Because if enough people lose faith, they show up and take it back, in paper, in their hands. Kill cash, and that door closes forever. There is no out. Your money lives inside the system permanently, whether you trust it or not. And once you can't escape, they can start doing things to your money that you used to be able to run away from. Like this. Imagine your savings shrinking a little every month, not from inflation, not from fees you agreed to, but because the system simply decided that money sitting still should be punished. A quiet, negative number, eating away at your account, engineered to force you to spend instead of save. In a world with cash, you'd pull it all out and stuff it under the floor. In a world without it, you can't. You just watch the number fall, and you take it. You'd be a prisoner of your own bank account, and you wouldn't even have a key. But even that isn't the final form of this, because so far, the system can only watch your money, freeze your money, and shrink your money. It still can't tell your money what it's allowed to do, yet. Here's a question you've probably never had to ask. What if money could have rules built into it? Not laws about money, rules inside the money itself. In the cash world, a dollar is a dollar. You can spend it on anything, anywhere, anytime, and the dollar doesn't care. It's dumb. And that dumbness is a kind of freedom. But digital money can be smart, programmable. And a programmable currency can be told exactly what it's permitted to do. Picture money with an expiration date, handed to you, then quietly deleting itself if you don't spend it fast enough, to force you to keep the economy moving. Picture money that only works within a certain distance of your home, money that can't be spent on certain products, certain businesses, certain ideas. Picture a payment that physically cannot be used to buy anything the system disapproves of. This isn't paranoia. These are features, openly discussed, sketched into the blueprints of the digital currencies governments are designing right now. In a world like that, You don't really own your money anymore. You're just allowed to use it, as long as you behave. And the most chilling thought of all is this: you would adapt. You'd get used to it. The same way you got used to being tracked online. The first generation would be furious. The next would be merely annoyed. The one after that wouldn't know anything else. They'd grow up believing money has always come with conditions, that it's normal to ask permission to spend what's yours. By then, nobody would even remember that there used to be a kind of money that answered to no one. And if you're thinking, fine, but this is all just a thought experiment, it could never actually happen, I need to show you something, because it already did. November 2016, India. Without warning, at 8 o'clock at night, the government went on television and announced that the two largest banknotes in the country, the notes that made up the overwhelming majority of all the cash in circulation, would stop being legal money. Not in a year, not next month, at midnight, that night. Hundreds of millions of people woke up the next morning holding paper that was suddenly worthless. They flooded the banks. They stood in lines that stretched for blocks, for days, just to swap what little they could before the deadlines hit. People with their entire savings in cash, farmers, laborers, families who had never trusted a bank in their lives, watched their security evaporate in hours. The chaos was staggering, and it gave the world its first real look at what the death of cash actually feels like on the ground. That was a preview, a small one, done on purpose. Now look at Sweden, a country sprinting toward cashless faster than almost anywhere on Earth. Shops with signs in the window saying they won't take your cash at all. Churches collecting donations by card reader. Children who have genuinely never held a coin. An entire society quietly forgetting what physical money even is. Now, look east. China is rolling out a fully digital, state-controlled currency. Money issued and monitored by the government itself, built from the ground up for a world where every payment can be seen by the people in charge. It's not a rumor. It's not coming someday. It exists. It's being used. And then a pandemic swept the entire planet, and overnight, the whole world was told that cash was dirty, dangerous, that you should tap, not touch. In a matter of months, habits that might have taken decades to change, changed everywhere, all at once. Do you see it now? This was never a question of if. The hypothetical we started with, what if all cash disappeared tomorrow, was never really hypothetical. It's a slow-motion event already in progress, and almost nobody noticed because it never arrived as a single dramatic morning. It arrived as 1,000 tiny conveniences, each one so small and so helpful that saying no felt ridiculous. That's the trick. That's how you take something from billions of people without a single one of them fighting back. You don't steal it. You make giving it up feel like progress. But humans are not so easy to control, and that's the strange, almost hopeful twist hiding inside all of this. Because money is older than governments, older than banks, older than paper. For most of human history, money was whatever people agreed it was. Salt, shells, cattle, gold, and every single time a ruler tried to control money completely, the people simply invented a new kind underneath them. Take away cash, and the oldest instinct on Earth comes roaring back. Quietly at first, a favor traded for a favor, a bottle of liquor that becomes a unit of payment, cigarettes passed between hands, exactly the way they've been used as currency inside prisons for 100 years. Gold, buried again, the way it's been buried in every crisis for thousands. And new digital money, built specifically to slip past the eyes of the system, born from the very same fear we've been talking about this whole time. This is the part the planners never quite account for. You can delete the paper. You cannot delete the need. The moment money becomes a leash, people start building money that isn't. So a cashless world wouldn't end in total control. It would split in two. An official world, where every coin is watched and every purchase is permitted, and a shadow world beneath it, messier, riskier, but free, where people trade in whatever the system can't see. And the line between those two worlds would become the most important border on the planet. Which brings us back to the only question that ever mattered. Not whether cash disappears. We've already established that it's happening. The real question is the one hiding underneath all of it. When the last bill is gone and every dollar you own lives inside a system you can be locked out of, who is holding the switch? Because somebody will be. A government, a company, a handful of people in a room you will never enter, writing rules about money you'll never read, with the power to decide whether your card works tomorrow morning. Maybe they'll be wise. Maybe they'll be kind. Maybe they'll never use that power against you at all. But here's the thought that should keep you up tonight. For the first time in human history, your ability to eat, to travel, to live, all of it, would depend entirely on staying in someone's good graces, forever, with no way out, no paper in your pocket, no backup that answers to no one. A cashless world isn't coming with a bang, it's coming with a tap. And the most dangerous part isn't that they're building the switch, it's that we're handing it to them, one purchase at a time, and we're smiling while we do it.